Okay, so welcome back, Thomas. I've interviewed you before. You are now a graduate, a couple of years on from graduating as a Master Spiritual Life Coach with Soul Awakening Academy. And I reached out to you because I'm on a mission now to interview students like years down the road. And I know you're only a couple of years down the road, but you're a shining example of what's possible, really. I saw your social media and I was like, yes, he's actually doing it. I'm loving it. And everything about it was so polished. So I reached out and I said, let's jump back on because I love to hear people's true, authentic journeys, not some polished, fake, phony version of, what you think people should hear, but actually what it's really fucking like to run your own business in an area of this kind of personal development, being of service to other people, because you've been on a journey. You've learned some business skills and you're implementing it. So I'd really love just to hear like what's been going on for you, how your niche has evolved, and how you feel about things like a couple of years down the road. So just introduce yourself really before we crack on and I start babbling on, asking you questions like I'm interrogating you on Mastermind.
No, no problem at all. Yeah, so obviously, I'm Tom Hughes. I spent 25 years plus in hospitality, owning multiple businesses, and I burnt out eventually and pulled away from it all become a bit too much. I had multiple businesses, lots of staff, lots of responsibility, and I was not aware of the impact it was having on me. So I came away from there, and after that, I went on a bit of a personal journey to understand what like happened to me, why it happened to me, who I probably actually was, and who I was becoming, going through that kind of like not breakdown, but like I hit a wall. Do you know what I mean? So I went through therapy, as you do, and then from there, kept on my own spiritual journey, which came to me naturally. And I just got a thirst for it. So then it was, how do I continue on this journey and educate myself more? And the Soul Awakening Academy, like I've tried to let a lot of things happen in my life, it just hit me in the face and it felt right and it felt safe and comfortable and it felt like the next natural step for me to continue my own personal journey, but educate myself because I felt like I wanted to know more. And if I could know more and educate to help, then that would be a perfect journey. So that's when I came to you.
I love that.
And we did it, and I did it, and
Wow.
I qualified a trauma facilitator as well, and a meditation teacher. So I did a good 18 months with you and just went for it and leathered it, which was enjoyable, but a lot at the same time. And obviously coming away from that, I was like, what the fuck do I do now? You know what I mean? Like nice, but like what do you do? So I left it, I sat on it, and then I came across somebody in the coaching world who was his business is to help people, qualified coaches, grow a business, build a business, grow a business. And just like you yourself, he came at me at the right time. It felt right. It felt comfortable. It felt like the next natural step. So I invested in myself again. And now and he's helped me grow my business over the last 12 months. And now I'm coming to that stage where I'm going into the big wide world of coaching myself. I'm obviously have clients. I'm continuously getting some clients, and I'm just growing my coaching business slowly, truly, authentically. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, as it should be. I love that. Like you articulate like your story and your journey so well. Like it just lands naturally with people. They're not trying to figure out, oh, what's going on behind the scenes with this guy. You're like really open about like and also what comes through is like burnout can just creep up. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're like, what the hell happened to me? It's almost like it was happening, but you didn't know it was happening until it was a little bit too late. And then it was a pivot on your path.
Yeah, 100%. But burnout is like I'm a burnout coach now. Fuck. it's so burnout. Although I'm a burnout coach, I don't particularly like throwing the word around because there's so much to what burnout is, and it's so different for so many people, and it can come at you in so many different ways. But I think all of us in business, I've been growing my coaching business now. I'm working hard at it, and I've now felt the burnout creeping in again, and I've had to take stock of what's happening to myself because I think all of us who strive to be successful personally and then in a business as well, we put so much pressure on ourselves to achieve because we've invested in ourselves or we've put time aside to try and grow something that we push really hard. And I think it's super important to be authentic when you're telling your story because some people what they see on social media they think oh you've got your own coaching business or you grew this coach but it takes a lot.
Yes.
It's not all sunshine and flowers. It's not fucking pretty.
No.
You've got to bust the ball like any other business. You might be telling people how to benefit themselves and their life, but you got to continually check yourself. And I think it's important people realize that it is rewarding, but there's a lot that goes into it. Do you know what I mean?
Very much so. You will probably, oh, that's not exactly true because the rewards are so great, but I was going to say you'll never work as hard in your life as when you work for yourself. And I
Mhm.
guess it's true, to be honest, isn't it? If it's for yourself, everything's on the line. But the rewards for working for yourself, there's always a sacrifice, there's always a trade. And the trade might be I'm not earning as much money as I was in corporate, or it's inconsistent, but the trade is I get to spend more time with my family. I don't have a boss.
So this is funny, this because this is the internal battle I'm having at the moment. Being an experienced businessman, oh, means nothing really because being a business owner, you never really know what the fuck you're doing. You just whack, you know what I mean? But like, the internal battle I'm having now, and actually the way that I'm siding to is that the money and the success is not as important as the peace and time that I'm creating, and now that's really resonating with me at the minute, and that's kind of like where I'm going to. What I'm going to work and continue to nurture my business and grow on it, but always, and I need money but more towards taking care of my peace and my time more than my bank account. Although that has to be taken care of, but it's not going to be my focus, sole focus.
Yes, and it's true, you can have it all. But it doesn't all happen overnight.
No, and you
You've
can't
got,
have loads of one and some of the it's got to be a balance. If I
yeah.
want all the money, I'm not going to have much peace and time, am I? Do you know what I mean? So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So it's always a trade-off and it's
Mm,
figuring out like what's actually really valuable and what is successful. The businessman who's working all hours God sends and not seeing his family and his family leave him.
mhm.
Is he really successful? What would he trade to be in a different place? So yeah, I have to check myself with that as well.
What I love about going through the education and qualification did review, obviously that made it, and you always say this, that made me go within at the same time as being educated and learning and growing. I was always going in all the time to learn about myself, growing my coaching business and helping other people and all those kind of things that I've been doing there. So it also forces you within all the time. So as I'm growing a business and helping people grow themselves, I'm growing at the same time. That is something that like I value along this journey more than anything. Because if it all comes tumbling down tomorrow and I don't have a coaching business anymore and I go back to whatever I go back to, I've grew throughout the journey.
Oh,
So so it's still a win, isn't it? Do you know what I
it's an
mean?
absolute win because it's a life skill. And, overnight successes, are they going to be there in 10, 20 years' time? It's like what they say this, and it's true. Those who win the lottery, their life is in turmoil. And if you look at them a year or so later, they've lost it all. The reason being is they weren't prepared. They
Mhm.
didn't learn the skills, take the steps, understand what it's like to hold it and keep it. Therefore, they have it and they lose it, but they were an overnight success. So, for longevity and legacy, it should always be what you're aiming for. And that comes in steps and stages, and it's about growth and implementation, reflection,
Mhm.
and all of those things. Having it overnight is not a win.
I agree.
So you're doing the right things, and from what I've seen, you are absolutely on the right road to success. So a question I want to ask you is, how long ago was it that you certified?
No, I don't know. I'm
Couple of,
really,
oh,
it's
three,
all it's
four.
all a blur. It's all a blur. Yeah, the master course was the first one I completed. Then I just added a few more on that were
About
obviously
3 years ago,
no 2 years, probably two. Yeah,
two
just
years
under
ago.
2 years. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gosh, yeah, so you've done it really quickly. So
Mm,
looking back, I know it's only a short space of time,
mm,
but to the like coach, the business owner, the man, even family man that you are now, and everything that you've said, what are you kind of most proud of?
mm. The person that I am and I'm always becoming without a shadow of a doubt. Like it just is. Like I'm just a better person, human being. I'm a better dad without like unbelievable better partner, and I'm just a more peaceful. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, but still, but that's life in it. But yeah, me, I'm a better person. End of chat, and then everything else.
Love that. So what I've got these questions written down just for trans.
No, that's good. Cool.
What hang on, let's have a look. When you first began your training, did you already know your niche and where it would lead? Or did your purpose reveal itself as you grew and started working with clients?
Yeah, I didn't know my niche when I started. No,
I remember, yeah.
100%. I didn't know. I didn't. I just literally followed what was like a call into me, and I was to go on a journey I did with you, and then I was going to kind of figure it out afterwards. But it obviously was a minefield. But like I said, the guy that helped me get the get my coaching business off the ground, he came at the right time. Like I can't honestly, like you did, like so it just is it was what it was. And then the work I did with him, he was really focused on initially working towards that niche, and he built like systems that helped you narrow down on that to understand how you can help people coming from a place of your story, your experience, your pain, because then you can really relate to those people that you are capable and who need and want help. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was like when you did that work, I was like, oh my God, like that's where I fucking belong because like I just that's who I am. Like I know everything about it, matched with my qualifications, matched with my ability to be a good coach. It was then easier for me to build systems, build programs, build, exercises, everything,
Yeah.
implementing your work and your courses, but you know, turning it in towards that niche, that client, that it just all made sense. So like doing the niche work now looking back on it was like so important. I remember you doing a workshop on it once as well on one of your monthly things. You brought an ex-client in who would niche down herself. And I remember looking at the questions she built to find her niche, and that really helps. So like niching down is super important. I don't suppose you have to, but it's going to help you focus on what you're going to be really good at and who you can really help.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I probably predict it will take a bit longer to find a nice rhythm of clients because it's just there's a lot, isn't it, going on?
Yes, I'm really happy that you said that. And it's the thing, every kind of student who gets on a call with me before they enroll, they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. And I always say, it's so obvious you can't see it. It's your story. It's what you've been through. And people don't get it at the time. I would have said it to you, but people don't get it at the time because they're not ready yet. They just know that, yeah, they've been through something and they're ready now to learn a skill that they can help other people with, but they don't get the importance of what they've been through, and that is their niche. Turning that into a productable, marketable product is different, but it is completely what you've been through, the path you've walked makes you the expert Your transformation makes you the trust, credible expert to help other people who are going through a similar journey. So it's so important to know that when anybody embarks on personal development and they want to help other people, they're not going to help another person and they've had no life experience of that pain. It
Mm.
just doesn't make sense. So it's 100% about what you've been through. So,
It helps me engage with people as well when I'm, you know, interacting with people, and then ultimately selling with them, and then working with them is that they can feel safe and heard, that I understand what's going on in their brain because I've been there. And then you take your skills and your qualifications, everything you've learned, but because you angle it towards your niche, it feels like to them that the program is built for what they need in their world. So they feel then completely surrounded by somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about, what understands their world before they even open their mouth, and then we're working towards something that feels like it's completely built for their world because I built it and I come from their world.
exactly.
That's helped massively. It doesn't mean that it makes me success overnight because people are still tentative to help themselves because it's fearful, isn't it? It's scary to take that step, but it definitely gives me more strength in that room of going, I know I can help.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about because I've lived
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Exactly. And I watched one of your clients' testimonials and it is absolutely gold. So whatever you've created, 100% delivers. Another question for you, Thomas. When did you realize you weren't simply changing careers, you were actually stepping into the work you were meant to do?
Okay, now, mate. Do you want to get? Does it need to be any bigger than that?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't know, mate. I don't know.
It could have been
I
when you were finding your niche. I know
yeah.
when you came to us, you were more about just figuring yourself out, weren't you, at that stage? It was
Mhm,
more of a thing for you
mhm,
than knowing. Because we talked about it, I remember going, you'd be great in men's groups with anxiety and things like that. And you've not
mhm,
followed that path.
mhm.
You've followed this one that you're on.
Yeah, well, it's funny now. Now I've found my niche. It all makes so much sense. Do you know what I mean? And I ended my journey in my 20 plus years in hospitality, 16 plus years in business. It didn't end well
Yeah.
because I broke down and I walked away from businesses. I lost a lot of money. I lost a wife. I walked away from a wife, and my life changed massively. So it didn't end very well. So there was always that, like, not a bitter taste, but like, it was always like, but finding my niche now, and obviously doing the work on myself along this journey,
Mm.
finding my niche, I've kind of, I'm working really hard in my niche again, and hospitality, like thinking about it, talking about it, working with people. Kind of fell back in love with
Yeah.
the industry. But when I had like 40 odd staff at one point, and I would always be the person, the go-to person, the person who would always be there for people, regardless of whatever the issue was. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of always a skill of mine. So now finding my niche, and now I've done a lot of work on myself. I feel like over the last year or so of actually actively growing a business in my niche, I feel like I think it's been since I've been building my business then, and I've reconnected with that industry, and then I'm helping people in that industry. It definitely feels like I'm comfortable in my skin in this coaching world because I've literally lived and breathed every single second of any experience that anyone can bring to the table. Obviously, not exactly the same, but when we talk about levels of pain, I've been there. Do you know what I mean? And the mindset and the thinking and business and employing people. So I think it's probably building the business, working on my niche, and then actively working in my coaching world in that niche, which was hospitality and people who
Mm.
struggle with burnout, stress, pressure, overwhelm, exhaustion, loss of identity, all those things, because it's rife in this industry. It's one of it's one of the numbers wise, it's the one industry in the UK that struggles the most out of any other industry. So you can hear now, like being there and passionate about it. So I think it was finding, you're right, it's finding my niche. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Gosh, that's it. That's insane. Just how you talk about that industry and what it does to people. That's actually quite fascinating. So, wow, well done you. What kind of life have you been able to create because you trusted that calling and took the leap? And where do you think you'd be today if you hadn't?
What leap?
Basically embarking on the course and just going from
Uh,
where you are now,
Okay,
really.
so starting from the
Yeah.
embarking on the course of you guys.
So we're listening to the calling because we get that feeling inside, don't we? And we're like, oh, what's this
Mm.
funny feeling? It's like pulling me towards something.
Yeah, it's a bit fucking. I've kind of always done it all my life, but for a long period of time, never realized I was doing it. I'd always be prepared to step out. I'd always be prepared to take gambles. I'd always prepared to do the thing that was dead uncomfortable, that made me feel scared, but I'd do it anyway. And the more I did it, the more I was comfortable with doing it. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's tiring.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't do it all the time, but like I think it's just in me to do it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, coming to stepping out and investing in myself with you, it was daunting because I felt myself at a crossroads. I had a property maintenance business, and it just wasn't going to be me forever. It just couldn't. But I didn't have a fucking clue what I was going to do next. So I came away from it first because that's what I usually do. Is I just make the decision and then it figures itself out. And then I just jumped on a course of you, which has then led me to where I am today, which is, my coaching business is built and it's running and I've got clients, but by no means am I killing it. By no means has this replaced my whole income. By no means am I, living the Instagram life. I'm living a very peaceful, nice life with a vision of continue to grow it at a pace that feels right for me, not trying to kill it and make all the money. And along that journey, I found a lot of happiness in myself and my small bubble and the quiet times in life. So I don't want to lose that. If I hadn't have done that, I would have been living a lie,
Mm,
and I can't. I can't fucking do it. I can't live a lie,
mm, mm.
and sometimes I really want to because it's just fucking easy, but then it'll just niggle, and I've never been a person who can sit with the niggle. Can't sit with a niggle. I like if I sit with the niggle, I probably would self-destruct.
I get that. Yeah, that resonates with me.
But then you have to go hustle. Like you're not sitting with the niggle, do you know what I mean? But it's got me to where I am today, which is not. And see, everyone relates everything to fucking wealth and money, don't they?
I do.
And I do. I come from a society that does. I come from an industry that does. So like that's always a bit of an inner battle with me. It's something I probably need to work on. Is actually my relationship with wealth and how I think about it and how it kind of still runs a bit in my system. But the more I continue to grow, like I said before, I'm trying to. Well, no, I'm not trying. I know that peace and time is more important to me than wealth, and how can I set my life up to make sure that is always the case? I'm still navigating, but again, like being able to find that and be okay with that's how it is for me, and that's what I really want. That's a great achievement for me.
I think it's really like one of the things that like comes through with you is like your integrity and your honesty and your certainty as well to make decisions or not jump into decisions if it doesn't quite feel right. Because, we've talked about your high ticket funnels and things like that, which is, what I do. And I'm like, well, have you thought of this? Why don't you have sales agents? And you're like, no, I'm not ready, I'm okay
Mm.
right now. I'm not ready yet. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I've got to. I kind of. I think it was with you where it really came home to me. Although before with like therapy and we got starting the spiritual journey, obviously becoming spiritual, or whatever that means to you as a person, it's about listening and trusting yourself in not so many words.
Yeah.
With you, and obviously going on the course of you, but we going with, on the enrolling on the course of you, you get you personally as well. So we get to have a lot of honest conversations, and I think it is. what I take away from that experience of you the most is that it's about listening and trusting yourself. Now, coming from a world of having to, especially in business, like if you want to make it work, you've got to make it work. It's down to you. You go push, push, push. But if now I'm listening to myself and going, and on this journey of building this coaching business, I have been pushing when I shouldn't have been pushing, and I've become overwhelmed, stressed out, and riddled with anxiety. Then that's when I've had to check myself and go, if it doesn't feel right, you've got to pull back, and then you need to sit with it and see what it looks like. And that doesn't mean you're going to get that in 1 or 2 days. That might be 2 weeks, might be 2 months. Who knows? You know what I mean, but like I've got to, because pushing for the sake of pushing, in my experience, never ends well. There's got to be some clarity along the way, and then push. Uh, so yeah, that's it's important for me to do that. It's scary because I feel like I'm not achieving. I'm self-doubt creating, negative self-talk creating, like all these things. Like I'm human, but because I understand what they all mean, then I have to then go, right, okay, let's work on the self-talk. Let's regulate ourselves. Let's have a bit of time out, and then we'll come back to the board and let's look at the clarity afterwards. So it's an ongoing battle with
I love
myself
that.
and the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you've just
That's
described
real.
it. You've
That's
just
real.
described your clients and how you help them is exactly
Mm,
the medicine that you're giving to yourself. So
mm,
that's why you're an expert in this field because of everything that you've just said about
mm.
you know what it's like when but you feel it now. And maybe that 20 years ago you didn't take notice of the
No, definitely
feelings
not.
and it will just knock you on your ass and upend your life. But you recognize that now, and that's why you're an expert because you take your own freaking medicine.
It's hard though.
It's hard, but it is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
If
no.
if you didn't have to keep taking your medicine, you wouldn't be interested in it anymore.
No, I totally agree, and I want my clients, my potential clients, to see it as well. Because I don't want to paint a picture that isn't true. Obviously, you have to come across with authority because, like, you're the person who's the expert in your field, but still, you can show vulnerability. Still, you can show
You have
uncertainty
to.
because, yeah,
You
because it
have
makes you
to.
relatable, doesn't it?
100%. You have to keep showing that vulnerable side and how
Mm.
you've worked through it because there's the credibility, the trust, and the expertise. So if somebody was watching this and going, I resonate, I feel a call to, I've been through some pain, I've been through some trauma, and actually I feel like I want to kind of educate myself and I want to help other people on the path, but they're procrastinating, their doubt is saying, "Oh, nah, you'll never make it work, like you won't be any good." What would you say to them?
Hard because I understand where they're at, and that there's a lot of internal conversations going on with that person, and like stepping out in life, probably say more than ever. It's daunting because following that intuition until you understand it is scary. It really is, and it's easy just to go, whoa, no, just leave that there because if I uncover that, like what is going on? But if you feel that call and you feel that pull, I would say take the pressure off the thought of one, spending the money, two, what am I going to do with it? Where's it going to get me? How am I going to use it? You know, because that's what we do. We buy something that we know is going to be good for us. We want the end result straight away, but like that just puts so much pressure on it. The most important part of anything I did, especially when I invested with you, is the journey that I went on, the
Mm,
work it did for me, how I understood myself more. Because we can't achieve anything that we want to achieve, or we can't do anything to the best of our ability if we're lost. You've got to do it for yourself first. It'll figure itself out the other bit because you're going to be capable to work at it, understand it, take it when you've done the work with yourself. And the great thing about the course that I did with you, and probably a lot of the others that you offer, is that yes, we get a qualification in the end. Yes, we can use that to benefit ourselves and grow a business, or improve the work that we do already. But I think it offers. I think it's more about what it does for the individual. It absolutely is.
is Yeah, thank you for
It
saying
is.
that. It is because I always say, look, this is about you first. I'm a person who needs to have it all figured out, and I drive myself insane with it as well. But when you embark on this, it's not a tick box. So I've done that module, I've done that topic, I've done that assessment. It's like have you embody it first, and that takes time and it takes integration. It is a gift that you're buying for yourself, first and foremost. What you do with it will unfold in the right time, in the right way. So I agree with what you say. Do it for you.
Mm.
Do it for your own personal journey because wherever it takes you 10, 20 years time, you've got that understanding of yourself. You're not just like that leaf being blown round by the wind, all these circumstances taking hold of you, and you're uncontrollable, and you don't know how to self-reflect and step out and center yourself. So I agree, when times get hard and you've got that skill that you've spoken about that you implement, it just gives you it's a wonderful place to be.
Because it doesn't really matter what we do in life, really, work wise, it's always about work and it's always about business or what fucking job does my head in. We do these kind of journeys that you go on with the courses that you offer and the investments that you make in yourself, like you're going to gain from it. It's going to benefit you. You're going to be able to show up better
Yeah.
without a doubt, because what the course did for me is what it made it help it reflects you back to yourself and it helps you look at yourself and the amount of time I do modules and stuff and afterwards I'd be sitting with that module like not literally with it on my screen but in my head for days. Do you know what I mean? Like I need to understand that more, and then I'd be reading whatever book I'd be reading and I kind of find myself going back to it and it helped me then understand me more, which then helps me obviously be, like I said before, my biggest achievement is now being a better human being, a better person, more at peace with myself. Like I wouldn't be at this stage now, saying those words and trying to grow a business and growing a business. Like you say, I've grown one, and not trying to, uh, without going on that journey I went on with you. Like no chance. Period.
Well, I think you're doing incredibly well. I'm so happy to see. And it's such a short space of time as well that you've achieved what you've achieved. So
Mm.
I look at you and think, yeah, I just know in a couple of years' time, it might take you. I've been at this game now for 10 years, and it's highs and it's lows and it's mediocre. Would I do anything else for any amount of money? No, I wouldn't. So,
Mm.
and you're on that path too. It just takes a bit of time, but everything I see you doing is absolutely spot on. And the biggest thing I see you doing, which I encourage everybody to do, is get those testimonials. Like you've got your clients, your paid clients are coming on speaking about the transformation that you've helped them make, which is absolutely freaking golden. So that is absolute credible. It's testament to what you've accomplished. So well done. And I'm really grateful for
Appreciate
the
it.
interview and your time, Thomas.
No, of course. Thank you for having me. It's always nice to hear yourself back, like because when I talk, I'm talking to myself at the same
Yeah.
time, and that's actually good. It's uplifting, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Mm. What's your business called if people want to find you?
Possibilities with Tom,
And you're on Instagram.
and that's my handle as well on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Possibilities with Tom. So we'll post your
Possibilities with
links
Tom.
and everything once this gets set.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
my pleasure.